Well, today I want to talk about an old school cold steel knife. This is not currently in production. This is the cold steel triple action. All right. So basically how this works is there's two handles here, which pivots down here. So the first handle opens, right, and that leaves the channel accessible to move that blade out. Okay, so you see the thumb stud is right here. Okay, it's never closed at all. So you flick that open, move the thumb stud up, right, and then close this handle, and it kind of snaps shut here. It's basically pressure fit, and you can rotate that screw to loosen or tighten the pressure. So if it's super tight, it's kind of hard to manipulate, that open and close, but if it's too loose, it could just, pop open by itself. So you have to kind of find that sweet spot. However, most people don't open it like that. Most people flick it open like this. All right, which is a really fun way to open your knife, right? It's very impressive looking. This would definitely appeal to a lot of the balisong people out there. There are a couple different tricks you could do with this knife, but the biggest downside to this design, and you can see it right here with that rounded tip, is the fact that if you don't do this right, and even if you do it right every single time, you're bound to have this happen. You go to open it, and the blade doesn't open all the way, and when you flick up, that hits the inside of your handle. Now this one I got in a trade, and you can see this is heavily used, and all those dots in there are where the tip had stuck into the soft aluminum handle scale here, okay? And again, you can see the tip of our blade here used to have a nice point, and now it's quite rounded. And that's simply just from not opening properly every single time. And same thing when you can close it the same way. You flick with your thumb, you flick this thing open, use a swinging motion to shut the blade, and then flick it back up, right? So let's try opening it again and closing it. We'll see if it's successful. Yeah, see how it bounced open? And then close. Open. Hit the table. Closed. Open. Closed. Open. Closed. I'm trying to get it to stick. Oh, there we go. Okay. So at some point it smacked that handle. So you can see, it's not successful every single time. It's just because it has to be perfectly, oiled. This one's a little bit dirty right now. So even though this is smooth, when you're, handling it, it feels very smooth. But when you go to flick it, if you don't use enough force, like I said, it stops here. You go to swing that back up, hit your blade, right? Or here, hit your blade. Or up here, hit your blade. So what ultimately happens is your edge just starts to dull out a little bit. This one, it's not too bad, definitely needs a touch up, but that tip certainly needs to be reprofiled into an actual tip. I'm not gonna do so though, because I still like playing with this, and inevitably that tip will hit the inside of my handle again. So no point in fixing it, right? This knife was available in, I believe, 3 different models. This Tanto plain edge, there was also a Tanto full serrated edge, and then there was a double-edged spear point. The double-edged spear point, by far the coolest. I wish to get one in the future, maybe another trade. These are available places like eBay. The prices are all over the place, anywhere from $100 to $400 or $500. It's ridiculous, seriously. Some of them that are like mint condition in the box are like $460, stuff like that. The average price though for a used one, about $140, $150. So if you think it's that cool and you want to find one on the secondary market, expect to pay about $150, depending on the condition. And again, there's ones that are $100 that are just totally beat to crap. Some are brand new. Some are $300 that are beat to crap. It's all over the place because it's basically whatever people want to charge for it. It's a really cool design. It's not super practical. It is obviously very intimidating. If you were to take this out of your pocket and quickly open it, someone would go, oh, ooh, it's a flashy knife. It's extra scary. It's not extra dangerous, it's just extra scary. What's nice though about this design is, unlike a balisong, you're never gonna cut yourself. Unless you put your fingers in this danger zone, this is the channel of the knife, and we all know that. With every folding knife, that's the danger zone. If the blade's folding and your finger's in the way, you're gonna get cut. But in manipulating this knife, you don't have to put your fingers in that channel. You're holding the outside of the handles, every single time you're manipulating it. So there's no real fear of getting cut. But it is a heck of a lot of fun to play with. Now when I'm actually opening and closing this, I don't actually snap it shut because I have this set so it's pretty hard to open because I don't want it to accidentally open when it is closed. So you can see this protrudes out so you have something to push. It's like a secondary thumb stud. So you could pop this open and then you can use your finger you know, to open the knife. You want to do it kind of slower. So that's kind of a slow way of doing that, opening it and closing it, which is of course not fun. Everyone wants to flick it open and flick it shut. You see there is a nice pocket clip on the back. Because this is all smooth aluminum, it's very easy to slip in and out of the pocket. Unlike most cold steel knives, they have incredibly strong clips on incredibly aggressive G10. So that is a pleasure to handle. You can see a little design, a little bamboo Japanese theme going on here with our handle scales. This one is in VG1. Flip it over, you can see here, made in Japan. VG1 stainless. All right. Blade is 4 inches. It's 9 inches overall, 5-inch handle, and 3.6 ounces. It's definitely a fun knife to play with. It's not quite as versatile as a balisong. Balisong, there's just unlimited different manipulations and combinations you could do. This is pretty limiting. You could do it in reverse grip, you could do it in forward grip, but it is fun. It's a fun knife to play with, and it's a very interesting design. So for the knife collectors out there, definitely one you want to get your hands on eventually. You know, you'll more than likely find these at like gun shows. You know, if you happen to go to a gun or a knife convention or show, that's when you might find this, you know. But like I said, expect to pay around 150 bucks on average for them. If you find one in really good condition for around 100 bucks, I'd say that's a great deal. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I know a lot of people who have owned this knife, their biggest complaint, again, is the fact that this blade doesn't always go all the way in or all the way out. So they get that tip, you know, smacking the handle, and it could be very frustrating, especially, like I said, if you get this thing and you're like all amped up to kind of flip it out and play with it, and it just keeps binding up on you. That could be very frustrating. My biggest suggestion, obviously, is to make sure that pivot area is nice and clean and perfectly oiled up, so you can you know, manipulate it properly. But anyway, there you go. Blast from the past, cold steel triple action. I know a lot of you guys watching this video either have one or have had one. Let me know your opinions down below, what you think of it. If you had the same issues with it, obviously, you know, hitting that tip all the time. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting knife, definitely worth some airtime talking about it. And especially for all the people who are somewhat newer to knives and never saw this knife design. There's a lot of really cool knives from the 90s that, you know, occasionally I'll be on the hunt for. You know, knives I used to really like and wanted, or knives I've had and I traded off. And it's special for me to get something like that, in this particular case, the triple action, just to show off to the newer generations of knife collectors, because they've never seen these before. You know, I posted a quick little video of opening this on Instagram, and people are like, oh my God, what is that? And I'm thinking, like, how do you not know what that is? But clearly, every day, there's people who are just getting into knives. So I love exposing people to older, you know, interesting designs like this. So anyway, looking forward to your comments down below. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you soon. Take care.